Hey everyone, Daniel here from Team Kuribrohs, and today I am back with another deck profile. Myself, Alvin, John, and Craig from the team all attended the Gamers World OTS Championships on this Sunday. So there were 50 players. The others ended up going 2-2 drop, but I ended up finishing 5-1, playing Eldlich. So quickly I'm just going to go through the deck profile, and then I'll go through a few thoughts about how the deck performed and what I'll be changing going forward. So we were on our Eldlich package was 2 Golden Lord, 3 Sanguine, 3 Conquistador, and 2 Haguaro. That's the exact same as I played in the last list, and it's a package that I'm pretty happy with. I have seen that this weekend there was a list that topped playing 3 Golden Lords instead, as well as Cursed Eldlands, so that's something that I'll definitely be trying out going forwards. But this list performed fine for me. Then we have our Dogmatica package of Dogmatica Ecclesia alongside 3 Dogmatica Punishment. Again, pretty standard. As before, my draw package, 3 Pot of Extravagance, 2 Pot of Duality. Then Trap package, 2 Trap Tricks, 3 Ice Dragon Prison, 3 Torrential Tribute, and 3 Waking the Dragons. Waking the Dragons is something I will discuss further later. And then we have 3 Solemn Strike, 3 Solemn Judgment, 2 Rivalry, 3 Goes In, 1 Skill Drain, 1 Imperial Order. So that's the exact same 43 card main deck that I played for locals on Thursday. Where things change is the extra deck. So I have my Link Spider, my BLS, Pleiades, Super Dreadnought, Rail, and Cannon. Zeus Sky Thunder, that's the same. Then we have our 3 Elder Entity Entus, which is still just the best card in the extra deck. Then we have Titanclad, and then for our waking targets, we have the Warrior from Another Planet, Notoria Exterio, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon is there for Dogmatic Punishment, so I played into a lot of Invoked previously at locals, and just in case you target a Mechaba and your opponent discards 2 Alistairs, Ultimate Dragon means that you can still clear it. It never came up. And then Shen. And then finally for the side deck, again, a few small changes here. We're playing triple Lava Golem, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 3 Broken Line, 3 Dimensional Barrier, 3 Evenly Matched, and 2 Wiretap. So the Wiretap slot is one that I'm not entirely convinced on, and Broken Line as well. Barrier, after thinking more about it, it is handy going second into certain decks. If you set this, it can function similar to a Strike against any deck that's setting up Synchro Negates. So, and additionally you can activate this and then Strike to ensure that this resolves if you need to, like torrential stuff that's indestructible. Particularly one of my matchups was against Lyrilisk, and the fact that I could side in Barrier to out Utopic Draco Future is very important, because that is a card that we really do struggle with unless we can Lava Golem it. But Barrier might actually be more reliable in situations like that. So yeah, Broken Line, Wiretaps, still kind of question mark as to what these should be, but they're definitely a slot that I would change. With regards to matchups, again, it was 6 rounds. Round 1, I ended up playing against Sword Soul. That was a 2-0. He made like a couple of mistakes during the match. So I also ended up going first. So going first game 1 is like super favored. I had Torrential IDP, so I was able to just stop all of his turn 1 play. And that was comfortable enough. The Sword Soul matchup seems fairly favored towards us, unless they're on Storms and Evenlies, which not many people in Ireland are on. Second round, I won the die roll against Vladis. So he was also on Sword Soul, but he was on the 10E DPE version. So he was on the full package. I won the die roll, won game 1, lost game 2, and won game 3. I believe Imperial Order basically just solo won game 1. But yeah, that was quite a good game. Round 3, I ended up playing against Cyber Dragons, which I won game 2 and then lost game 3 in time, which is unfortunate. I don't know if I could have been playing faster, if I needed to concede a certain game sooner. He did evenly match me game 1. He evenly matched game 2, but I had a negate for it, and then game 3 he evenly matched me turn 1 again. And I just didn't have any answer. So we ended up like grinding really hard for many turns, and yeah, I just couldn't get there fast enough. Again, I'm not convinced that like you can't really prepare for a deck like the Cyber Dragon deck, because it's not something that's going to be common in the format. And yeah, so it's one where if I had a replay for the match, I'd probably go back and kind of look through it turn by turn and see if there were kind of like small mistakes that I made. But overall, kind of, you know, sometimes you get even lead every game. Round 4, I ended up playing against Prank Kids. I won game 1, lost game 2, and won game 3. Yeah, the matchup is like unplayable going second. He had like everything game 2. So yeah, just lucky that I won the die roll, because when they feather duster you during your own end phase, it's really rough. It's really hard to break through that. Round 5, I was against Adamancipator. I lost a dice roll, but game 1 he managed to whiff on 2 of the secret rare Adamancipators. So I managed to take game 1 pretty handily. Lost game 2 because he just like full comboed and I couldn't break the board. And then game 3 I managed to pull through. Actually, the Prank Kids matchup that I played the previous round, game 1 I opened Ice Dragons Goes in triple Judgment, which was very silly. So that was like a really awkward hand to have, and thankfully I managed to just kind of like 1-for-1 him until I finally managed to draw Engine like 5 or 6 turns later. And then the final round, I ended up playing against TJ, who was on the Lyrilisk Tri-Brigade deck. I don't think he opened too well many of the games, because he was just ending on... He basically was just immediately going into Conductor, and from Conductor into Seamorg, and then having like Seamorg, Utopic Future, and Apex Avian, which isn't like the best board that they can put up as far as I know, but is totally fine against Trap Deck. And yeah, that one was... That was a 2-0 according to my notes. But it was very close. Like really, game 1 we went for like 20 minutes. I had him under Gozen, but he had Utopic Future on board, so I couldn't clear it. I had like a read that he had an Imperm in the same column as my Gozen, so I like kept an extra Gozen and Rivalry set, so that when he did go for his turn to break the Gozen, I was able to just lock him back down. But yeah, basically I couldn't get rid of the Utopic Future until he had negated Golden Lord so many times that I was able to IDP to hit the F0 that had been material on it and get rid of both of them, and then I was able to push through. But yeah, that definitely is a matchup that I potentially want more cards for. But yeah, overall, the deck again performed very well. I was fortunate that I won a good number of my dice rolls. My notes say that I went first 4 of the 6 rounds, so that is a bit of a high roll. The deck overall, Waking the Dragons, is something that I'm looking towards potentially cutting. Rivalry of Warlords as well just really isn't performing this format. I have seen a lot of people playing Tikaboo. Tikaboo seems kind of awkward in this deck though, so I'll have to test about and see. The deck already plays through a lot of its own kind of... it has a lot of restrictions that it places on itself, so we'll have to see if I kind of deem it to be worthwhile. But obviously the floodgates are really strong this format, especially with so many decks that can keep going even after you've hit them with 2 pieces of interaction. So yeah, that's kind of my general thoughts. Ice Dragon Prison is another card which kind of is feeling a lot more awkward this format than in the previous format. Again, like, the Utopic Future is a card that was very hard to remove. It's not as good against Phoenix Enforcer as it was against Dragoon. So yeah, we'll have a look at it. But yeah, I had a good time. I enjoyed the event. Ended up pulling absolutely nothing from my packs. C'est la vie. But yeah, the OTS Championship is an interesting format of tournament. Obviously, I was already qualified for Euros from the previous regional season, so this was my secret rare pull from my packs. Yeah, already qualified from Euros. It's a pity that only first place gets a match from the championships. I thought it was top 4, but it was only top 4 for qualifications. So unlucky that I missed out. First place of the event was Luke, who was playing PK with DPE. Second place was Vlad, who beat me on tiebreakers. He also finished 5-1, and he was on his Sortsil Tenyi DPE. And then fourth place, I believe, was Cormac Adams, who was playing Lyralisk Tri-Brigade. So yeah, I mean, really good event. There was strong competition at it, and I really do appreciate Shop for running it. It was a very smooth event once it got running, and the kind of... they really maintained kind of COVID guidelines, which is really fantastic. So yeah, that's my profile. We have a regional coming up this Sunday, so we'll see what changes I've made by then. And yeah, if you guys have any questions or thoughts, please let me know down below. If you played in OTS Championships, what did you think of the event? Obviously, this was the first OTS Championships to happen in Europe, so I'm very interested to see, did you have a lot of players? Was it quiet? What was the meta like? That's all kind of interesting information. But yeah, without further ado, thank you very much for joining us. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, any of that. We really do appreciate it. Or even just watch another video on the channel. And yeah, if you have any questions, I'll answer them. And otherwise, we will see you for the next video. Ciao.